My mom went to go see the Odyssey, so I'm filming all of this before she gets back. Hello friends, welcome back to the channel. My name is Morgan M. Steele. I am an author. Today we are doing something I've never done before on this channel, but I have wanted to do it for some time, and I will probably do it again later this year for something else. Today we're rewriting a movie. Now, I'm not rewriting the script bar for bar, though I do have a film degree. If anyone wants to hire me, my DMs are always open. But I will be rewriting today all of Descendants 5 Wicked Wonderland using the pieces that are introduced in the 5th movie, as well as all the loose threads that were left hanging at the end of the 4th movie, Descendants Rise of Red. And before we really dig into it, I would like to preface this by saying that all of this criticism comes from a place of love. Like, I am not just a dusty old OG fan that's bitter about this new movie. I am dusty and old and bitter. But all of this comes from a place of love. I've always loved the Descendants franchise. I have loved how goofy and colorful and campy and cheesy and sometimes cringe it can be. I have enjoyed it every step of the way. I love all 3 of the original films. I have some thoughts on Rise of Red that we will get into in this video. But this all comes from a place of love. This all comes from a place of my belief that children deserve good media. And like a lot of people saying, oh, well, it's a kid's movie. Right. The kids still deserve smart media. And I don't know. I didn't feel like the 5th film was written very well. And that's my main criticism. I liked all of the acting, all of the dancing, all of the singing. I thought all of that was wonderful. I thought the costumes were great. I thought everyone on that team was putting their best foot forward except for the writers of this film. And so today I am setting forth to remedy that in my humble opinion. Anyway, there will be spoilers for both Descendants 4 and Descendants 5. Let's do this thing. To get to the root of the problems in Wicked Wonderland, we must first start with Rise of Red, as they are supposed to be 2 halves of a whole. So, Descendants Rise of Red is a time travel film. We pick up with Uma, who is the new headmistress of Auradon Prep. She sends an invitation to Red, who is the daughter of the Queen of Hearts, who is in Wonderland, and we meet her through a banger intro song. Red, red, red. We are also introduced to Maddox, who is the son of the Mad Hatter, but he is in the generation above Red. I think this is really interesting, the layers here, because we have, like, later in the film we have Morgie, who is the son of Morgan Le Fay already in the previous generation, so it's just interesting how these characters are kind of staggered and which ones are older and younger. I don't know. Layers here. But Red's best friend is Maddox, who is her mother's advisor. He's a fully grown adult. He is the son of the Mad Hatter. He is an inventor, and he has invented a pocket watch that can take you to the time that will give you the thing you most desire. He decides Red isn't ready for it yet, but she steals it anyway. Floating off to the other side of Auradon, we are introduced to the Charming family. We are introduced to Chloe, who is the daughter of Cinderella and Prince Charming. She is the younger sister of Chad, who is mentioned briefly here. He was in the original trilogy. And Cinderella and Charming here, I love this so much. They are played here by Brandy and Paolo Montalban, who played them in the Rodgers and Hammerstein musical in the late 90s, early 2000s. So seeing them reprise their roles here as specifically the Disney Cinderella and Charming, I think is really fulfilling, and it's really cool to just see them reunited in this way. It's very magical. Love that casting. And they tell us that they fell in love at Castle Coming. Okay, this is the first mention of Castle Coming. We get it right out the gate. Remember this for later. So, Red and her mother, the Queen, arrive at Auradon, and we get a song here that lays out some of the exposition that when the Queen of Hearts and Cinderella were teenagers, there was an awful prank that was played on Bridget, and this prank resulted in her downfall to evil. There is some heavy tension between the queens here. We can tell they do not get along, and also Chloe and Red get off on the wrong foot.
You should come sometime. I'll introduce you to the Jabberwocky.
Fun. What's a Jabberwocky?
A monster that eats annoying girls.
So, of course, we can't have anything nice where the Queen of Hearts is involved, so she uses this opening ceremony of the school to stage a coup and overthrow Auradon. Cinderella stands up and says, no, Bridget, it doesn't have to be like this. It was just a prank. And Bridget says that it was a very cruel prank. She was turned into a monster at her first dance, and at said dance, Cinderella was too busy with her prince to care about what happened to Bridget. Cinderella is charged with treason and sentenced to be beheaded.
Off with her head!
for kids. Red and Chloe get entangled and set off the pocket watch, which brings them back in time to when the queens were teenagers at Merlin Academy, which is the former name of Oridon Prep. And after a duel and a song, the two agree to work together to set things right to prevent Cinderella from being beheaded and maybe prevent the Queen of Hearts from becoming evil at all. They also see a poster for Castle Coming.
No way. Castle Coming. That's where my parents fell in love.
They see it with their eyes and they talk about it with their mouths. In their very first class, which seems to be like alchemy, potion making, the girls accidentally meet their young moms. So we meet Bridget, bubbly, pink-haired, wonderful girl who Red is very surprised to, make any connection to her mother at all because they are so different. And we see Ella, who is not yet a princess, but who is instead a headstrong girl who knows how to make the best of a bad situation. We get another banger song here introducing the supporting cast.
Just mix it up, you'll keep finding my life is sweeter when you are.
And showing us Bridget's view that life is better when you're nice to other people. We learn Ella is her only friend, and we are introduced to the villains.
Disney Plus put an ad between the first half of Life is Sweeter and the second half, right before the villains came in.
So after a quick ad, we are introduced to the villains. So all of these are the villains from the Disney universe, but as teenagers. Captain Hook, Hades, Maleficent, who are dating at the time, and Ursula's sister Uliana. There is also, as I said previously, Morgie, who is the son of Morgan Le Fay, I believe. Yeah, and it seems he has some animal abilities. We never get deeper into that because he's the comic relief character. So, and can I just say, I love seeing Hades and Maleficent together as teens. I love whatever toxic little relationship they have going on. I think, especially with, the lore drop in Descendants 3 that they are Mal's parents, I think seeing them here together is just really interesting and cool. It's also really interesting to me that the two of them are cronies to Ursula's baby sister, and it makes me wonder why Uliana isn't just Ursula. I was always confused by that. I don't understand, especially because she looks just like Uma, so I don't understand why we didn't just fully commit to her being Ursula. And then I expected the answer to be, well, it would have complicated the time travel, but then it turns out that didn't matter anyway. So I don't know why she's not just Ursula. But also, Maleficent, Mistress of All Evil, Hades, the literal god of the underworld, they are cronies for Ursula's baby sister. I don't know. It's just interesting writing. It's a choice that was made. But, you know what? They are just teenagers, and maybe they are too caught up in each other's orbit to, worry about world domination right now. Uliana does some bullying and takes all the flamingo feathers from Bridget's cupcakes and, in turn, turns herself into a flamingo hybrid creature. She vows revenge. And Charming hits on Ella big time, but Ella is too busy being a good friend to give in to his advances and accept his invite to Castle Coming. Instead, she asks Bridget. So the girls go home with Ella and they ask some more questions about Bridget, trying to get some information on this prank. Chloe knocks over a very expensive vase. Stepmother finds this mess and grounds Ella. Chloe thinks she can fix everything with a nice apology and is very surprised to find out that that doesn't always work with people. That sometimes you can say sorry and you can do everything to make something right, and people are still mad at you anyway, especially people like Cinderella's stepmother, who are evil, So she finds out that not everything is sunshine and roses, and Ella is the one that's paying the price for this. The girls also find the villains planning their evil prank to use a sorcerer's cookbook to make evil cupcakes that make Bridget a scary monster at the dance, as we heard earlier. They talk to Bridget. They learn that this book is kept in Merlin's office because she doesn't have it in her cookbook collection. Chloe goes home with Ella and they sing a song about shades of Grey. And things not always being morally black or white. I think it's a very good song. I love Morgan Dudley. I think she's so talented, and I just think it's a really catchy tune. I think the mother-daughter bonding is good, and I think this is where Chloe could have learned that the world is not, a perfect place full of perfect Princess Nepo babies. And Ella sings about how it's okay to get your hands dirty if you're doing it for the greater good. which is very important. It'll be important later. The girls stop the villains from getting the cookbook. They have a fight in Merlin's office with his magical defense system. And the villains break in to try to take the cookbook from them and get frozen, because apparently when it is opened in the wrong hands, the cookbook is enchanted to freeze them, so they can't use it, which is interesting. It's a big old plot hole, because that would mean that the villains couldn't have cast it, unless, I guess, this enchantment only works if you open the book in Merlin's office, which is convoluted, and that is not told to us, so I don't think that's the case. Yeah, big old plot hole. So there's that. But they're frozen and given detention, and they are unable to pull the prank. The girls got away, so Merlin didn't catch them there. Chloe and Red. Satisfied with their changes, the girls go back to the future. It seems that things are pretty fine in the future. The Queen of Hearts is nice. She is dropping hearts instead of cards that are gonna take over the kingdom. Cinderella isn't being beheaded, and Bridget has love in her heart once again. We get the tiniest bit of Cinderella here. It's very interesting. They barely give her a line. It's filmed weird. I don't know why, and I'm assuming they left some open for the sequel, but it strikes me as odd. And we get Uma here telling us to be careful because things can get tricky when you mess with the fabric of time. Alright, Rise of Red thoughts. When I watched this movie initially, I did not like it very much. I think I gave it 2.5 stars on Letterboxd because it felt like half a movie. There kind of isn't a third act of this film. Things ramp up, and we never see Castle coming. Everything is leading to Castle coming, and we never see it. And when they were asked about it, I will have to dig up a source for this, but the writers said that the intention was never to go to Castle coming. And it really, I don't know, it kind of shocks me, because, that's a big old Chekhov's gun. Chekhov's gun in filmmaking is if you see a gun mounted on a wall in the opening scene of a movie, at some point during the movie, that gun must go off. It's a storytelling rule. It's when you introduce something like that, something big, some big set piece, Castle coming, for example, by the end of the film, we must see Castle coming. And so for them to cut it short and just go back to the future and the movie ends, there's no big finale dance, which is crazy because this is a Disney Descendants film and also a Disney Channel musical in general. They all end with a big final number. We don't get that. We get a reprise of Life is Sweeter, sang very beautifully by Rita Ora. She sounds wonderful, but we don't get a big banger finale number, which is crazy. And so the story feels unfinished, and it felt unfinished when I watched it the first time. And I would have been fine with this if they had followed up in Descendants 5. I think if Descendants 5 leaned more heavily on the film before it, I would have been okay with it because they would have been 2 films telling one story, and instead that is very much not what happened. And I do like some of the characters in this film. I like Red a lot. I don't really care for Chloe, but like I said, she was on the brink of having a breakthrough as a character, and I think if that thread had followed through the sequel of Chloe learning about privilege and learning that her life has been so perfect and that there are other people living a very not perfect life, I think she would have been much better for it. But it seems like a lot of that didn't really stick with her when we get to the next film. But I love Red. I think her intro is so good. Unironically, I was sitting there rewatching this movie for this script and I had chills when she came on screen. I was like, what am I doing sitting here getting chills from Descendants 4? But no, it's so good. Her opening number is so good. It establishes the world that she lives in, and it shows us who she is. And so I think that's great. I think she looks the most like the iconic VKs. I don't like the way they've dressed Chloe. I said this previously. I don't like whatever this costume is. The split leggings. What is wrapped around her ankle? What are we doing? I don't understand. And the wigs also are crazy, but they improve upon this in the next film. But yeah, I don't like that Cinderella and Fam has blue hair. Just because, in the world building of the Descendants universe, the VKs are the ones with colorful hair. So I think, maybe it's interesting. Maybe Ella has some villainy, further up the family tree. Who knows? But they don't say that, and so I'm just assuming that she's a normal human girl, and that level of care was not given to the production design. Mal has purple hair, and Evie has blue hair, because they are meant to stand out and feel othered in this perfect Oridon society. And so by giving everyone this, you know, colorful hair, you're taking away that level of, like, I don't know, representation. You're taking away that level of the allegory there. And I know that it's marketable for the toys and whatever, but I don't know. It just doesn't sit right with me, especially because Chad in the previous trilogy is an Ordon kid and he has blonde hair. He has just like natural hair. So I don't care if it's blonde. Doesn't have to be blonde. Could be brown or black or whatever. You know, strawberry blonde, red hair. But it should be a natural shade for the Charmings. They should have naturally colored hair. And I love Bridget and Ella. Like, so much. I love the way they're written. I like the way they're styled. Again, I would give Ella a different hair color, but that's neither here nor there. I love their outfits. I love Cinderella's puffy sleeve look with the overalls. Super cute. Bridget's adorable. I love both of them. I think both of them sing very well. I think they're both written very well. I like their characters a lot, so I loved seeing them in this movie and exploring them. And I think, like, Ella specifically, like, her moments with Chloe are very strong and, like I said, like, almost breaking through her character and, like, teaching her things about the world, and I think that's very important. And I love Bridget. She's so sweet. Those bullies, man. She deserves better. She deserves friends. I don't know why she doesn't have any friends. It's so sad. All that said, I'm not here to rewrite Descendants 4. We are leaving it the way it is. I am rewriting Descendants 5. So first, we must examine what that script looks like. We open the film with a talking cat voiced by Awkwafina.
No, not my dad. Me. Mischief runs in the family, see?
Said cat gives us a summary of the plot of the previous film, like I just did for you. But also spoils the reveal of Pink? Like, hello? Why are we doing that? Why are we doing that? Give it one more minute and let the film do that for itself. I don't know why the cat's telling us this. Red and Chloe, fresh from their time travel, hide the pocket watch in the vault under the Wonderland maze. Then, the next morning, they go to school for the first time, and they get a look at what this new timeline looks like. Red wakes up to a new sister, who the cat spoiled previously, but to a new sister, her name is Pink. Her mom, Bridget, super nice now. Love to see it. Chloe wakes up. Her mom is, like, stricter for some reason. Maybe it's an effect of them breaking that vase, but, like, that kind of didn't seem like the way that Ella had processed that happening. So, I don't know. Cinderella's stricter here for seemingly no reason. And they get to school. They find out, you know, Red is an HK now. HK, by the way, stands for Hero Kids. Back in my day, we had AKs and VKs. AKs, Auradon kids. VKs, villain kids. I understand that, you know, now that the barrier is down permanently, all the villain kids also live in Auradon, so they are all AKs, which I think is beautiful. So, HK makes sense, but just, you know, HK, VK. They are approached immediately by Luis and Robbie.
Why are those dudes coming over?
That's Luis Madrigal and Robbie Hood.
Luis Madrigal is the son of Luisa Madrigal, who I love very much. I love her. I hold her very near and dear to my heart. I see people complain all the time that she's already got a kid, and that movie came out in, like, what, 2020? Was it tail end of 2021? Anyway, it's only been out a handful of years. I don't really care. I think it fits in nicely to the stories that are adapted by the Descendants universe. Otherwise, I think Robbie existing is interesting because his dad is literally a fox. So I think that does open up some doors. Son of Kermit the Frog. When are we getting a son of Kermit the Frog? But yeah, so we are introduced to Luis and Robbie, who are friends with Red and Chloe and Pink too, and they're there. And then we're also introduced to the villain kids that we have for this movie. We have Hazel Hook, daughter of Captain Hook. We have Max Hatter, son of Maddox Hatter. Felix, who is the son of Dr. Facilier. The Smees, who we saw 2 films ago, Descendants 3, as children. They are now grown up into teenagers. Yeah, Max exists. He conveniently was not in the 4th movie because he didn't exist at the time. And they're telling us now that actually he did the whole time. Just in case you were wondering. Once they're introduced with this wonderful opening number, Chessie, the cat, comes back to exposition dump on us that Maddox is the villain in this world for some reason.
That new villain I mentioned? Surprise. It's Red's former best friend, Maddox Hatter.
And that when they went back in time, somehow that caused him to have a villain arc, even though we never saw young Maddox in the last film. I think that's a wasted opportunity. But apparently, when Red and Chloe traveled back in time, Maddox was there, I guess, and he saw the whole thing, and seeing them travel through time drove him mad, and Bridget banned him to the Isle of the Lost. So now, this whole time, Maddox Hatter has been a villain, supposedly. So this is my biggest issue with this film, is that instead of dealing with the consequences of the things that the girls directly changed in the previous film, which is what you're supposed to do with a time travel film, by the way, they retcon some stuff and say, no, actually, he was there the whole time. No, actually, Maddox was there, and also he had a son this whole time. And it's just like lazy, frankly. Yeah, I'd be more forgiving of this if we had seen young Maddox in the previous movie, that he was also a student at Merlin Academy. I'd be a little more forgiving of this, but we didn't see him there. You were telling us that he was there. He wasn't there. And then they reshot this little scene here. Yeah, no, look, he was there. He was there the whole time. Stop pissing me off. So, back to the main plot. Red gets knocked into Luis's arms. We have a little moment spark between the two of them. And then we cut back to Wonderland. It's a lot of back and forth in this first act. A lot of back and forth. In Wonderland, Bridget is super nice to her whole staff. And then she gets knocked out by Maddox, who has a little beetle that makes, like, knockout gas. Knocks out her whole staff. She is able to send a card out the window that tells Red and Pink and the whole group there that she's been kidnapped by Maddox Hatter. So this informs all the HKs and VKs that are hanging around of what's going on, and they all head to get help, to start making a plan. So they go to Cinderella first. They go to Cinderella and Fairy Godmother, and Cinderella's like, no, we have to follow the rules, Chloe. And Chloe's like, Mom, you told me, you told some random girl 30 years ago, right, that you should get your hands dirty.
When it's important, rules don't matter. We just have to get in there and get our hands dirty. Right, Mom?
She doesn't literally say that, but she was like, shouldn't we get our hands dirty, you know? Like, get our hands dirty and go fix it. And she's like, no, absolutely not. We're not going to move in until we know it's safe. Blah, blah, blah. So the girls decide to get their hands dirty and take matters into their own hands. They go to the rabbit hole. They are shocked to be greeted here by the VKs, who have the same idea. Maddox here, very desperate to prove to the others that he is nothing like his father. And if I had a nickel for every time a Disney character this year had that as their entire story arc, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice, right?
And after tomorrow night, I'll be my own man.
Max is his own man. He wants to be his own man. So they get to the rabbit hole. Luis, Robbie, and Pink also come. We are rocking with a group of 10 characters. Count them. 10. All right? We have Red, Chloe, Max, Hazel, Squeaky, Squirmy, Felix, Robbie, Luis, and Pink too. Oh boy. So yes, all 10 of them jump down the hole into Wonderland, and they get a sneak peek through these magic mirrors of things to come. As the girls lead the others into Wonderland, we get a moment between Pink and Red where Pink knows Red's favorite flower to prove that they did in fact grow up together. And while they're there, Maddox spots them using his dodo birds with cameras in them. He uses magic to animate the flamingo hedges and attack the kids distantly with magic. Damn, we are reheating all of Audrey's nachos in this movie, huh? Maddox, I must admit, Maddox has a banger villain song, okay? It is so good. It's so good.
Look what the cat dragged in to come and visit. Pathetic. Exquisite.
It's so good. He kills it. I remember hearing the song in promo because they had the girls record it for all their like trailers and commercials and stuff. So I'd only heard the girls sing it. So when he started singing it in this film, I was watching it with my mom, and I was like, oh damn! Like I was just so blown away. So like, as mad as I am that he has been shoehorned into this role, like the villain role, I love that we got this banger song out of it. And also Felix gets a line here that really cracks me up.
My father is twisted. Well, you are related.
So eventually they get chased into this like door house situation, tumbling house. They're rolling through the house. Whoa, no. They get into a squishing room. And then Luis pulls out Red and only Red, and the rest of them are shut inside. Red tries to fake it till she makes it. She's like, yeah, I know how to do this Wonderland thing, but Luis clocks her and he's like, girl.
How does one get lost in their own kingdom? exactly.
How does one get lost in their own kingdom? And then they bond a little bit over expectations and legacy. And you get your cheesy Descendants dialogue here of, you think I don't know about family legacy? Like, okay, all right, I can accept it. This is like, it's a staple of these films. They have to be a little bit cheesy. That is the price we pay. So eventually, they wander around, they find the rest of the group, kind of, almost. And Chloe discovers a robotic dodo up in the tree that's spying on them, and she wants to, like, disassemble it and maybe use it to help them somehow, and the others are like, no, that doesn't really sound like a good plan. So this is the first strike of Chloe being brushed aside by her friends. And it is revealed that for the first and not the last time, Robbie and Felix have been written off by the writers. Literally, they are spinning in a teacup in the middle of the ocean. And that would be fine as a cutaway gag, but it's not the last time this happens. Meanwhile, Cinderella uses her magic mirror to go through the looking glass. I think that's neat. I think a little reference to Alice through the looking glass is neat. She goes through her looking glass to Wonderland, which is connected directly to Bridget's throne room, and she uses her broom to, like, bat aside the brush, and instead of, like, I don't know, like, pulling her through and, like, helping her escape, she fully goes through this portal into Wonderland and gets trapped very quickly by Maddox. So now both of the queens are trapped. And then it's nighttime now, I guess. So the kids make camp under this tree. They sing a little song where the VKs and the HKs are at odds because Chessie the cat is telling them,
You're way more than good hair. And what does Hazel Hook know about saving the day?
to be at odds. And so they, are competing to prove who is the best. I think it's very catchy. I think it's a really good song. I have been listening to it on repeat. And I love this song, but the cat pumping in all the tension is a choice that was made. In this song, Red switches back and forth between the two teams because she still doesn't feel fully like an HK and she still doesn't feel fully like a VK, so she kind of rides the middle. And then after the song, Chessie tells Pink to be mad, so Pink is mad. And then Max goes off into the woods to think, and Chloe and Red have a little thing, because Red's like, I should go talk to him, and Chloe's like, how about we talk to him? We should fix it. And Red's like, no, like, I'm the one that knows what he's going through, because I was a VK. Like, let me go talk. He needs to hear it from me. And so she goes to talk to Max, and Max tells her what she didn't already know, which is that Maddox went mad because, specifically, he saw the girls time travel, and it drove him crazy. And, like... he invented the thing? Like, he invented the pocket watch. Maddox invented the pocket watch. So I don't know why he would go mad looking for it instead of, like, trying to invent it. Because he did in the first time. I don't understand this plot. The boys finally make it back. Did we forget they were gone? Yes, so did I. But we get a funny line from Felix here because Pink offers him some tea.
Tea?
No tea.
The next morning, since the kids are making progress, Maddox uses magic to shrink them down onto a chessboard. We get a fight here that is very reminiscent of Nightfalls from Descendants 3. Chloe directs the other people to play a game of chess. She starts with pawn to e4, and Robbie immediately gets ejected for the second time from the plot. Red teaches them Wonderland rules that help them successfully fight off the chess pieces, except Felix also gets ejected and one of the Smees also gets ejected. Pour one out, man. They didn't do nothing wrong. Now, Red does use Chloe for a moment here as live bait to trick the evil flower, but girl, you were swinging a sword around in the last movie. I think maybe she thought you could handle yourself. The girls find the cookies that make you big that Alice had. How long have they been sitting here, by the way? Maybe food doesn't go bad in Wonderland, but if they're Alice's, how long ago was she there? And they eat them, and they get big, and Pink tucks some away in her pouch with a line that's like, for the others when we find them. Why are we not looking for them now? Why are we not looking for them now? We are big and they are small. They couldn't have been flung off that far. If you look around in the grass a little bit, they're like on a flower somewhere.
Hey, guys. Not again!
If you look around in the grass a little bit, I'm sure you could find them. Why are we literally leaving our friends here, tiny and alone in Wonderland? I don't understand. I don't understand. The kids camp another night because they were set back so far by the chessboard, and this time they're at the White Rabbit's house, where many of the things there are unexpectedly cake.
It's cake.
Max plans to go off and get the Oraculum by himself. That's what they're trying to get, is his dad's device, because it's the one thing he cares about. So they could use it to bargain with him, I guess, to get the queens back. So Max decides to sneak off by himself to go get the Oraculum. Red and Chloe have a fight. Red tries to speak with Chloe on 2 separate occasions. She tries to give her a drink and talk to her, and Chloe gives her the silent treatment. Then Luis notices the tension. He's like, hey, how about we go get some air? He and Red go off, have a very beautiful romantic duet. I love this for them. Again, I love this song. I love the songs. When they get back, Red tries again to talk to Chloe.
Please talk to me.
Why? So you can just ignore me some more?
And she again, like, blows up on her and is like, you don't notice I'm drowning.
What? I thought you'd care, or at least notice that I'm drowning, Red.
And this is my problem with Chloe, is that, like, Red's mom has literally been kidnapped. Her entire life has been put on its head. And Chloe is the one that's like, I'm drowning, Red! Girl, your mom is a little bit stricter than she was before, and also they don't even know that Cinderella has been kidnapped yet. So there is no reason for her to be feeling all these things. And it pisses me off, and it just shows that, like, she kind of learned nothing in the last movie, and she kind of has not developed at all as a character, and it really, like, bums me out. Like, I had high hopes for her, and here we are. The queens, who are still trapped, have a duet here, and I really love this song. Brandy and Rita are so talented and good, and this song is giving like space between but for moms, and I really love it, them looking back on their lives together and whatever. I do think it's weird though that Bridget is only singing about one daughter. You have 2. You need to be singing about both daughters. But other than that, like, I think it's a beautiful song, and I think it's really good. And then in Maddox's lair, the Oraculum shows Max the previous timeline, where he and his dad were together and happy. And Chessie tells him that this was taken from him by Red and Chloe. Chessie also encourages him to make an Evilinator 3000. It is a bracelet that he makes because revenge is best served blue.
Revenge is a dish best served blue.
And yeah, just no hesitation, Evilinator 3000. Just boop, okay. So much for not wanting to be his dad's son, you know? Like, I don't know. Like, and I think I wouldn't have a problem with this plot if it was introduced a lot sooner. If Max had known, maybe almost from the beginning, that the girls were to blame and had been, like, I don't know, like, using them to get closer to getting his revenge, I think I would have liked it more. But the fact that he just flips on all of his previous motivation of, I don't want to be like my dad, I guess I'm gonna be like my dad. Like, I don't know. Just all the 180s in this script really make me scratch my head. Chloe and Max shared a song here about how heartless Red is.
You want heartless, I'll show you heartless, crueler than you'll ever be.
Max is the only one that has the right to be singing this about her, by the way. I like what she did to him, I think is really messed up, and I think maybe she hasn't had time to, like, think about the full scope of that. Like, she ruined her best friend's life, her best friend and her best friend's son's life, and, you know, she has no intention to, like, fix that, which is really shitty. So I think him singing that about her makes sense, but I think Chloe, girl, why are you pissing me off? And so Max finds Chloe out in the woods, and he gives her the Evilinator 3000, and it makes her evil. And her evil look is very good. She looks good. I saw the doll leaks of this, and I was like, damn, like, I wonder what makes Chloe, like, get to this point where, like, she becomes evil. And it turns out it was the Evilinator 3000, which I just, Audrey had a reason to be evil, because she thought that Mal, and Mal did do this, stole her boyfriend and the life that she was supposed to have. Chloe being evil because the friend that she met 4 days ago has been a little absent these last 2 days because her mom was kidnapped, and they're trying to save her mom's life, and they're in her kingdom, and therefore Chloe doesn't know everything about Wonderland, and so Red taking the lead in this is a big enough sin to Chloe, I guess, to turn evil against all of their other friends. Girl. She looks good. They have a banger duet. It's very good. I think, like, Evil Chloe and Max look great together. Like, I think it's fine. And I think they sound great together. I think their song is good. But I don't like that we got here this way. And then Pink has a meltdown because she feels like Red is tolerating her. And then, you know, Red sees Chloe and Max run off towards the maze. And so she and Luis are like, dang, we gotta go. And so they go and they leave Pink. And it's not that they left Pink, it's that Red ran first. She left both of them there. And Luis said, oh, I guess I'm going too. And he chose to go. And so Pink is like, they always leave me behind. What am I, disposable? Like, girl, you can also choose to run after them. You don't have to be told by someone else to run after them. And Hazel does tell her. She has a very funny line here.
I am good at giving advice.
So then Pink follows them towards the maze. The other four arrive first. Max and Evil Chloe and Luis and Red. And they talk outside the maze for a bit. And Luis is like, literally, what is going on? Because Max is like, I know things. I know what you did. And Red is like, uh-oh. And Luis is like, huh?
I'm clearly out of the loop, but this is bad, right?
And so then all four of them go into the maze. The maze is like opening and closing and whatever. And Chloe and Max get towards the pocket watch. And Luis, my boy, sacrifices himself.
Oh!
What are you doing?
Hurry! I can't hold them up for long. Go!
Sacrifices himself, holds the hedge open. Red runs through, he gets smushed. And then Pink joins Red after her sad duet about not knowing who she is. This is maybe the only song I don't like on this soundtrack. I just feel like we had momentum and we're losing the momentum by stopping to do this. She has a memory about Pink and her being sisters, and then she shouts out for Pink. Pink finds her, they sing together, and then Pink eats the cookie that makes you big. She gets big, and then she stomps a bit, and they get to the vault, and she cracks open the vault, and the other three fall inside, as well as the pocket watch. They argue for a little bit. Chloe gets the pocket watch and is like, you thought I did this for you? I'm doing it for me. I'm gonna go to the future and make it so I never get overlooked again. Girl, she's had a perfect, privileged life her entire life, and her not getting attention for 2 days caused her to be evil. Okay, so then Red uses the power of song and friendship to convince Chloe not to be evil anymore.
Figure it out together.
It says they're gonna figure it out together. And then Chloe takes off the bracelet that makes you evil and throws it and becomes not evil. And then things rumble and a statue almost falls on Max. They save Max. Then he's like, dang, thanks. I guess that's it then. He folds instantly. He no longer cares about revenge anymore. He just is done. He agrees to let them throw this pocket watch in this fountain, sealing in his shitty timeline and his life on the Isle. He has a childhood on the Isle now because of something Red and Chloe did, and he just lets them throw the pocket watch in the fountain, and the magic seals, so they're locked into this timeline. And then they get out, they go to the castle. Giant Pink puts all the other kids in there, and they fight off Maddox, trap him in a chandelier. The moms are okay. Everyone's okay. Red gives like a half-baked apology to Maddox and Max and says, this is all my fault. Does not say why. Max knows why. Maddox does not know why. No one in this room knows about the time travel except Chloe and Red. They have not been transparent about this at all. None of them know that they are from a different timeline and that they messed about this whole thing. And so her apologizing to Maddox and Max, like, girl, Maddox doesn't know why this is your fault. Like, he was your best friend, and you're just gonna let him take the fall for this. Okay. They, agree that hero and villain are just labels, and that they should give Maddox and Max a fresh start after they let Maddox hang out in this chandelier for a while. And then we get a final number, and that's that. I suppose it is at times like this I must be grateful I don't have more expensive hobbies. Dolls are expensive. Brief break in your video to show you that I bought all 4 of the dolls. Anyway, I also did buy one blind box. There are 6 characters that you can get. I want Luis, because why did they not give my boy a doll? I don't understand. He's the love interest. He doesn't get a doll. Be so serious. Okay, so you can get Pink in this little teacup, who I do adore. I would be very happy with this. Hazel, Red and Chloe. All right. Pocket watch with Red, a little chest piece with Chloe. Like, these are all cute. Like, I'd be happy with any of them. Max and Luis. All right. My adult money, you know, it's, oh, come on. Please, 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 please. Oh, it's Pink, I think. No way in hell! Oh my god! I only bought one! Yes! I win! I thought it was pink because it's this pink card. I didn't know they came with these. This is nice, too. This is a nice little collectible. Oh my god! Anyway, give him a doll, Mattel. What are we doing? Why don't... Max gets a doll, but Louise doesn't? Give both of them a doll. I know you say that the boy dolls don't sell, but I'd buy it. So, anywho, back to your video. Okay, so... how do I say this nicely? I think there are good bones here. Yeah, we're gonna do a compliment sandwich. I think there are good bones here. I like the new characters we introduced. Standouts for me are Hazel, Luis, Felix. I think they're good. I think, like, as I said, the songs are bangers. I think a lot of them are very good. Costumes are really good. Production design is gorgeous. You can tell there was a lot more money put into special effects on this one. It looks very nice. But I want to work in the props department. Let me work in the props department. I saw some videos of them behind the scenes, like, doing all the Wonderland props. That looks so fun. Let me do that. I think all the actors are doing their best here. I think they're doing really, really good. None of these critiques have to do with the acting of this film. It's all great. I think, you know, the songwriters did good. I think the songs are great. I think the production design is great. I think the costumes look good. The wigs are way better in this movie. All of it. The dancing, the choreography, very good. So why did I give it a 1 on Letterboxd then, right? I think the writing team needs to be fired. Upon researching the writing duo of these 2 scripts, they wrote both of these movies. We have Russell Summer, who sometimes goes by Rue, R-U, and we have Dan Frey. They seem to be a writing duo. Like I said, they wrote both of these scripts together, and they have other shared credits in their history. Dan Frey, if this is all this right, Dan Frey, it seems like he writes books as well. He does some freelance screenwriting, which is what I'm assuming happened here. Disney just hired these guys on. As someone who, like I have a film degree, I have a minor in writing, I care very deeply about my craft. You've seen, I talk about it on the channel. I think the 2 of them, if this is indeed their best work and it's not affected by outside sources, like, I don't know what it's like writing a Disney movie. I don't know what it's like having corporate Disney breathing down my shoulder. I don't know if Disney gave them a list of things that needed to be accomplished. I don't know any of the specifics. But if this is indeed their best work, I think they need to take some time reevaluating their relationship with the 3-act structure and really taking some time to relearn their craft. I think they need to reread some screenwriting books. I think they might need to take a course on screenwriting. There's kind of no excuse for this level of writing, like, in a professional sense, like, hired on by a very big company. They seem to fully just misunderstand, like, how scripts work, and they're ignoring a lot of really big screenwriting rules, and I don't know if this is intentionally or unintentionally, but either way, like, I think it's bad. I just think it's bad. They don't know how to shape a story, and for some reason Disney let them try again. As I said, Rise of Red has no 3rd act and a big Chekhov's gun that didn't go off, and this film is just, oh my god. It is something. Every rewatch, I get a little more mad about the shape of the script. Everyone is acting and singing their butts off and dressed to the nines, but the story they're stuck with is very obviously written by 2 guys who are either knowingly or unknowingly ignoring a lot of crucial rules of screenwriting. I don't know which is worse. Hollywood, I am begging you to find some new, unique voices. Friend of the channel, Movie Turtle, thought these 2 movies were written by different writing teams, and I can see why he would think that. It is the same 2 guys. On this last film, they had another writer credited for revisions. So they had someone, like, kind of overseeing them, and I don't know what all she brought to the table in terms of her impact on this script, but they feel like very different films, and they should have been two sides of the same coin. It's a time travel movie. These are supposed to be the consequences / back half of that time travel movie, and it's just a completely different thing. Compliment sandwich. Okay. I like the new characters. As I said, I like Hazel, I like Felix, I like Luis. They are the standouts to me. I don't mind Max, but I find his existence really jarring since we didn't know he existed last movie, like at all. If his dad was Red's only friend, why was she not hanging out with him since they were the same age? I just don't understand. I don't mind the romance between Luis and Red. I think they're cute together. But I think it does kind of come out of nowhere. I think her just, like, falling in love. Like, she met him 2 days ago, and her, like, immediately falling in love with him, I think is just a little, I don't know, it's insta-love. It's giving insta-love. They are still in the talking stage, so, like, it's fine. But I think if you're gonna go all in on a relationship that you want to bloom into something really big in the next movie, theoretically, I think there needs to be a little bit more foundation there. I think in this timeline, Luis knows her, like, they're friends, so it makes sense for him to be catching feelings. Maybe the feelings were already there. But Red met him 2 days ago, and I feel like it's a little weird looking at it from our perspective and her perspective. And also, like, you're friends with her. Do you not notice that something is wrong with her? Like, that goes for all the characters here. Like, these are your friends, in theory. Like, I mean, Robbie and Luis, at least. Are you not checking in with these girls and being like, hey, Red, Chloe, like, you two are acting kind of weird today. Like, everything okay? Like, after they get back from traveling in time, you're not checking in on them? And then, like, outside the maze, Luis is like, okay, obviously I'm out of the loop here. And then Red never lets him in the loop. Like, none of these people know they traveled through time. She apologizes and says everything that happened to Maddox and Max was her fault, but does not say why. Like, I don't know. It's all a little half-baked. That's what happens when you retcon something at the top of the movie and pretend that it's impact from the previous movie. It's not, and we can feel that. Pacing is all over the place. Pacing is very bad. It suffers big time from something I call a saggy middle. It's when, like, you have a good beginning, like a solid beginning and a solid ending, but everything in the middle drags because you don't know what to do, and you can tell you're not building tension as you're going. You're just doing things. And so this is like, Maddox is just hanging out this whole script. He says, like, he's gonna keep torturing the kids until he finds the pocket watch. Is he looking for the pocket watch? He's from Wonderland. Is he looking for this pocket watch? I feel like he could find it. Like, they're out there for 3 days. Like, I feel like he could find it, and he shouldn't be banking so much on Max finding it for him. Because, like, him being like, oh, good job, Max. Like, no. He wasn't on your side until very recently. Like, if you wanted him on your side, you should have shown him what the Oraculum showed you. I don't know why you didn't do that before if you're trying to get him on your side so bad. Yeah, and then, like, the kids, like, having to camp out 2 separate nights is crazy. Like, they get out of that chess match and they're like, oh, like, we lost so much time at the chess match, we have to camp again. And nothing else happens that day. They don't explore Wonderland. They don't see any, like, I don't know, flower people or the, like, roses that are being painted red, or, like, there's no other references to Wonderland here that they, like, you know, just have them do some stuff before you have them camp again. I don't understand that. I don't get it. Have them get into some hijinks, or add in a B-plot of the boys that you wrote off twice. I don't understand why we did that either. And on that same note, there are too many characters in this movie. There are way too many characters in this movie, and you know it because you wrote 2 to 3 of them off 2 separate times. It's weird that it's the same characters. Like, if you were going to give them nothing to do, leave Robbie and Felix at home. I don't understand why we brought them on the adventure if they're not going to do anything. Like, it's bad writing. When you have a character that is useless in a script or a book or whatever, it's your job to either give them a purpose or get them out of that script. They are just taking up space, literally taking up space. And it feels silly. It feels silly watching them get launched off for the second time. And it's like, okay, then why are they here? Because, like, that's not a funny enough gag to be doing it twice. Like, one time I can excuse, but doing it twice with the same characters is, like, actually crazy. I love an ensemble, but it has to be in the hands of someone who knows how to write one, and these two clearly do not. And then Chloe's whole thing, like, I don't know, her whole conflict being like, oh, well, I feel useless for these 2 days So I'm gonna make everything about me, and be all upset at Red, even though she's trying to communicate with her. Like, Red has tried to talk to her twice, and Chloe's just not having it, and it's like, girl, like, I need you to suck it up for 2 days until you get out of this situation, and then you can be mad, and then you can, like, I don't know. It bugs me that is her entire plot. I don't know. Like, give her an actual reason to be mad. I think the conflict needs to come from the inside, not the outside. We see so much that, like, Chessie is, like, pumping in conflict and tension. And if that is where your conflict and tension comes from, you have to pump it in from a tertiary source that's not physically there in the scene. You're a bad writer. And, like, all this exposition that Chessie is doing, it could be exposition in dialogue. It could be things that characters are talking about. It doesn't need to be this stupid cat that's, like, talking about this stuff. And then, like, on the topic of useless characters, Prince Charming is in this movie, and I forgot he was in this movie until we cut back to him in the final scene where he's dancing alone in a room. Like, it's just embarrassing that, like, you would bring him back to do nothing, and then, like, not even bring him into the closing ceremony. They're all in different clothes, so there's been a time skip, so he could be there with his wife. Like, I don't understand why he's not also there at the party with his wife and daughter. Doesn't make any sense to me. Maybe you only had him for the one day, maybe that's it, but it's ridiculous. As I said, Maddox has a banger villain song. It's very, very good, and I'm glad we have it, but all of the circumstances surrounding him becoming the villain just really piss me off, and it's not a worthy trade in my eyes. And finally, that stupid cat. If you have to use an external source to pump in all of your tension, as we see in the beginning and end of Did You Hear About Them, as well as when she convinces Max to make the Evilinator 3000, and also to do all of your clunky bad exposition, you are not a good enough writer. You can't make your own tension using your characters and their motivation, and you have to tell us everything instead of showing it. You're not even using real dialogue to do the exposition. You're just having a voiceover cat do it. Not everything needs to be spelled out by a talking cat voiced by Awkwafina. If I had written something like this, I would be so ashamed. You would never see it. It would never see the light of day. Like, I don't know. Like, especially, like, Chessie, like, sitting on their shoulders and being like, oh, like, you should be mad at them. That's crazy. Like, their tension can come from their differences and their internal thoughts. It doesn't have to be because a cat told them to. Max making the Evilinator 3000 doesn't have to be Chessie telling him to do that. It could just be him finding the book on his own, opening it, seeing that, getting the idea, deciding to do it on his own. It makes him a stronger character if he's making the choices and he's not being told by a cat to do it. Like, I don't like the cat. I don't like the cat at all. And then the gall to give Chessie but you didn't think that was the end of the story, did you?
Oh, you didn't think that was the end of the story, did you? Of course not. That would be too sweet.
You give the fucking cat the iconic line. Are you kidding me? We had no one else that could do that. Are you kidding me? I don't like her as the narrator of this movie. I don't like her as anything. I don't think she needs to exist. Period. I am a Descendants enjoyer. I am a time travel lover. I love this franchise. My out of time license plate literally on the wall behind me. I love this franchise. I'm not here to hate. I've done a lot of it today. I'm not... I don't want to be a bitter unk, okay? But I want the kids to have good media I have, and I believe that is possible with these characters in this world you've established coming off of the tail end of Rise of Red. I think it is possible to write something good coming off of that, using all of the characters that you've established. So I'm going to do it. I'm going to write a better script of Descendants Wicked Wonderland. And yeah, I'm going to get my hands dirty and I'm going to fix it to the best of my writing ability. As I said earlier, this is all as someone from the outside looking in. I'm not in the film industry. I have a film degree. I don't work in film currently. I have no idea anything on this production or if any of these characters that I'm pitching could feasibly physically come back for this, but based on Rise of Red and the bits that I'm stealing from Wicked Wonderland, this is what I would have written instead of those two guys. So, you may be thinking to yourself, what are this random girl's qualifications to be writing this script? These are my books. This is my film degree. And I spent more time in my teenage years writing Descendants fanfiction than I would care to admit. I'm all in. I love these movies. I'm doing this for the love of the game. Also, I will be dusting off my acting skills a little bit, but I am not an actress, so just take all of that with a grain of salt. But I think in order to crack this sucker, we must first examine the things, okay? Things I will be keeping. I will be keeping all of the new characters introduced, except for 2 of them. We will get into that. Keeping Chloe's evil arc, because I think it's fun that she had one. I just think it could be handled better. And that might be it. I think that's all I'm keeping. Things that I am getting rid of. Chessie. Bye-bye, Aquafina Cat. Don't need her here. And I'm also getting rid of Maddox as the villain. I'm getting rid of Max as a character, but perchance not the actor. And I will get into that more later. Big things that need to be fixed. Pink's arc needs to have more weight. She needs to be kind of the crux of Red's motivation. Chloe needs an actual reason to be evil / to be upset. The main conflict needs to be connected to the actual things that the girls changed in Rise of Red. And we need to clean up the insta-love between Red and Luis. Okay? Sounds easy enough. Opening narration. There's always opening narration in a Disney movie. Have Fairy Godmother do it. She is the only OG that has stuck around this whole time. She's in all 5 movies. Let her do the opening narration. She will tie in more later to this script. We had Uma do the narration in the last movie, which makes sense, but China Anne McClain did not come back for this one, so have Fairy Godmother do it. As a side note, I think her connection to Chloe is very understated to begin with. She's the reason her parents met, no? Or fell in love? Or is she supposed to be? The ball they fell in love with being Castle Coming muddies the waters a little bit, so I don't really know, like, the Cinderella story anymore, because we didn't see Castle Coming. But they are from the same fairy tale, so a little more energy of them, like, knowing each other would be nice. Additionally, having Fairy Godmother open the movie and there being time travel involved, it's giving very Cinderella 3: A Twist in Time, and I love that. Okay, so Fairy Godmother gives us the rundown of what happened in the previous movie. It is 2 parts, so we need to explain that Chloe and Red went to the past, met their moms, prevented Bridget from becoming evil. We also mentioned that the vase got broken, and Cinderella got grounded from going to the ball, because that is what they changed. It was Chloe's fault that the vase fell over, and Chloe's fault that Ella got grounded. So what are the impacts of Ella being grounded? Okay? This is the thread we need to pull. Not a thread that we've inserted, but the thread that was already there. And also in this narration, obviously, we don't spoil Pink, because why would we do that? Just let the opening number do that. Act 1. We open with Red and Chloe hiding the watch in the vault, but Red establishes that only the Wonderland royal family can open the vault, so she's very confident that it will be safe there. Here we get an alternate version of Perfect Princess. I like this opening number. I think it's good, you know? We can just switch up some of the lyrics and stuff. Red's mom is nice now, and she has an unexpected sister, Pink. Nope, I'm sorry. I'm renaming her Rose. Her name is Rose now. But in Chloe's house, instead of Cinderella being all strict for no reason, I don't know what the correlation is there still, Cinderella and Charming live in a normal, if not a little bit dilapidated house. They are no longer royalty. Because we saw her in nice clothes briefly at the end of Rise of Red after the time travel, we can assume that Cinderella has one nice outfit for show, to show some semblance of having everything together, but behind closed doors, the Charmings are struggling. In fact, Chloe finds her wardrobe to be a little bit different, a little bit edgier, suggesting a different upbringing. Chloe and Red get to school. They meet up, they try to debrief. Chloe is like, hey, things are weird here, and Red's like, you're telling me, I've got a sister now. And as they're starting to debrief, they are interrupted by Luis and Robbie, who are still here. They rush over to greet Red specifically, but Chloe also happens to be standing there. And then maybe insert some other hero kids to fill in the gaps. We only really have these 2, and then Pink and Red. So, like, if there are some other characters that we insinuate were friends with Chloe in the previous timeline, I think that'll help fill in the gaps for this ensemble bit, but we're not going to carry them over into the other stuff, because then we'd have too many characters running around. And, other big change here, Luis and Red are already dating. So here we see that, like, Luis is very comfortable with Red. He kisses her on the cheek, and she's like, whoa! It turns out this whole time she's already had a boyfriend, and they've been dating for a while. I'm thinking, like, minimum 6 months. Like, they have been together for some time. They are comfortable with each other. And, you know, she is taken aback by this, and he's very concerned, like, hey, like, you good? Like, what's going on? And she waves off. She's, like, trying to fake it till she makes it. So she's like, okay, great. Sister, boyfriend, great. Like, nice mom, sister, boyfriend. Everything is great. All right. And then, as the girls approach the school further, the VKs approach Chloe. They are friends. We get maybe some flirtation with Hazel because obviously I'm gonna make it gay. Apparently Chloe was supposed to have a gay subplot in Rise of Red, but that got cut. So, you know, maybe get some more of that energy in there. Even if it's not outright stated, definitely have some flirting going on. There was a ton of gay flirting in the original Descendants trilogy. We've lost our roots. We've lost our connection with our roots. But yeah, we're sprinkling in some gay. Hazel is Harry's sister after all. And so here we have Hazel, Felix, the Smees, but Max does not exist in this script. Sorry. We'll get into later where Brendan Tremblay fits into this, because I don't want to leave anyone without a job in the script, but not as Max. With the song over, the girls fully debrief. Cinderella and Charming are still good people, but they're clearly scraping together a life that they used to have very pristine and perfect. Chloe has a reputation and an association with the VKs that she doesn't want because it takes away the privilege she used to have. People look down on her. She is a VK. Red is like, I have a sister and a boyfriend now. This is so weird, but at least my mom isn't a dictator and your mom's not getting beheaded. So, you know, I think we can make this work. And Chloe does not want to make this work, but she goes with it for a second, just so there's no tension between the two. But her protests are interrupted by Red getting knocked into Luis's arms. We keep that. He flirts with her and is very comfortable, and Red is still, like, a little freaked out about all of this. He's like, hey, like, you good here? And there could be, like, a Spanish term of endearment here. I don't want to pick one because Spanish is not my first language. Yeah, I don't know. He could call her something real cute in Spanish. I think that would be nice. She's like, yep, yeah, I'm fine. It's fine. But she's clearly not, and he can tell. And then we should have a few scenes of the girls in their classes. We should get to know this new normal a little bit before we turn it all on its head. Red is having the best day ever. Chloe is having the worst day ever.
This is great. My side's so much scarier than yours. Oh shit, your trip sucks.
She is facing discrimination for the very first time. She's never felt it before. And this can be used to do some world building to see like what things are like for the VKs now that the barrier is down. We didn't really get to explore it like kind of at all in these previous couple of movies, but I think like seeing what that relationship is like now would be really interesting because change does not happen overnight. And we see that in the way in the beginning of Wicked Wonderland that, you know, the VKs and the HKs still have a split between the two of them. But I think seeing more of that would be interesting. At lunch, they get split up and sit with their respective friend groups. The VKs grill Chloe about her getting to school with Red. Like, what do you think? You're some kind of princess now? Chloe is bummed the out. At Red's table, she sits with her sister. It's her sister's first big day of school. She finds herself slowly warming up to the girl. So in Perfect Princess, we can have Rose be a little bit annoying and off-putting, but this is where things should start to shift, and Red is like, oh, okay. Like, this girl's pretty nice, you know? Like, maybe I was just annoyed this morning. Yeah, and they clearly, like, Rose cares about her a lot. Luis is a good boyfriend. He can tell that something's off with Red, so he's like, hey, like, come on, let's go get some air. The two of them go out into the courtyard, and we get a romantic duet between them. I think that's very important. We should still have a romantic duet between them. I would call it our song or something. Like, you know how couples have a song together, and it's their song. So I think because Red doesn't remember their song, and she doesn't remember anything about their relationship, I think, like, kind of establishing, like, what that looked like in the timeline previously is important to establish. And Red this whole time is like, no, like, hey, like, she keeps trying to interject, like, you don't know me, you don't know who I am, like, you don't know. Luis just, like, doesn't hear any of this, and he's just, like, talking about how much he loves her, and, like, how they met, and, like, oh, I think about it all the time, like, that night we met, it was so magical, you know, like, going on. And they can dance, and you can use the dance to show her becoming more comfortable with him over the course of the song. I think that is a very powerful tool in your tool belt, because it's a musical, and there's dances. So at first, they are not moving in sync together at all. By the end of the dance, she's smitten with him. She's a little bit disarmed. You know, she's got her VK chip on her shoulder, but she's been disarmed by him a little bit. She can tell that obviously this previous version of her, like, cared about him a lot, and there's got to be a reason for that. And they kind of fall into sync, like, as the song goes on. I think that would be cool. And then you can also, because he's the son of Luisa, and you have to establish that, you can give him a line about how, like, he would carry the weight of the world to make her happy. Okay, we can be a little bit cheesy with it. It's fun. After school, Chloe tries to talk to Red and is like, hey, no, listen, like, I don't know if I can do this. Like, this is really hard for me. And Chloe is going through a lot in this version of the story. She's like, hey, do you think, like, maybe we could go back and, like, try to fit? And Red is like, no, like, I think, like, we're good here. Like, it's not perfect, but I think we can handle this. I think we can make this work. And Chloe is not ready to agree to this plan, but Red is like, come on, just like sleep on it, like give it a night. And Chloe's like, okay, fine. Like she agrees. We go back to their homes again. At Red's castle, she has a conversation with Maddox, who's there. He's still inventing stuff. And he is planning Rose's unbirthday. I think that would be very fun. Show us an unbirthday party. He's inventing some kind of fancy tea device for her. I'm imagining like a big, like a soda fountain thing, but for tea. And it just like pours a bunch of different teacups at the same time. I think it would be very cool, like steampunky. Apparently, this device was Red's idea, and she went to Maddox to get help for it. And so now he's checking in with her, and she doesn't remember it because it happened before the time travel. And so she's like, what? Yeah, okay, yeah. And Maddox is like, hey, like, you okay, girl? And she's like, yeah, no, I'm fine. Everything is great. It's great. It's too great, maybe. And this is the first time, like, this girl has ever had anything nice for herself, so she just, like, doesn't know how to have nice things. She's so used to being on the run and being a VK and having an evil mom, and, like, now that she has, like, a good family and, like, people who care about her and a support system and a boyfriend and, like, all these things, she doesn't like know kind of what to do with all that attention. But she's like kind of settling in and like starting to enjoy it and get comfortable. At Chloe's house, Chloe has a bonding moment with her mom. She still doesn't quite know like what has gone wrong to like make all this happen in her life. So she says, I know you don't talk about it often, but why did you get sent to the Isle? Cinderella sighs and she's like, it was an accident. I apologized, I tried to fix it, but the world isn't always a fair place. Hammering in her point from the first movie and foreshadowing the reveal that we're building up to. I'm just lucky your father followed me, or we wouldn't have had our little princess. I know our life isn't perfect, but things are getting better. We just have to roll up our sleeves and get our hands dirty. There's also a leak in the roof that her dad is trying to fix, and the girls are scrubbing the floors trying to make the place nice. So we get like a little bit of Cinderella like chore doing here. Red is in her room processing everything. She's just like laying on her back, like staring at the ceiling like, oh my god. Rose knocks on the door and she's like, hey sis, had a nightmare. Can I hang out in here? And Red is like, oh yeah, sure. Rose starts looking through her room and pointing out things from their childhood that Red has strewn about. Rose is like, I can't believe you still have that stuffed rabbit I made for you. His ears are different sizes. You made it for me, Pinky. Of course I kept it. Pinky? You haven't called me that since I was 7. Yeah, well, I've been feeling nostalgic lately. They lay in her bed together in comfortable silence for a second. Rose is like, Red? I'm so glad we're sisters, which I know is cheesy, that's the point. And then we get a close-up on Red, and her eyes get real serious, and this is the moment that she decides that she can't let this timeline get overwritten. So she says, yeah, me too. Act 2. The next day, Chloe is on a warpath. She finds Red, and she's like, my parents are miserable. My house is falling apart. I miss my clothes. I feel like I don't even know who I am anymore. We need to go back and fix this. And Red is like, fix? Chloe, I'm sorry you don't have your perfect princess wardrobe anymore, but we can't risk going back. If we mess it up, what? You'll lose your big pretty boy boyfriend? No. Yes? I don't know. We could make everything worse. My mother was a tyrant. Your mother was on the chopping block. This place isn't perfect, but... And then as Red is trying to justify her actions, Luis swings by and is like, come on, we're going to be late for class. And I think Luis being the one to pull her away is very important here because it hammers in Chloe's point that Red is only doing this for selfish reasons. Chloe is stewing all day, thinking about everything she used to have that she doesn't have anymore. At lunch, she's sitting with the VKs again. She says something like, what did my mom even do that was bad enough to get her locked up on the Isle anyway? And Hazel and Felix are both like staring at her like, you don't know? Like, what? You don't know? Your mom stole Fairy Godmother's wand and turned her whole step family to glass. Shattered them. Yeah, apparently they took her in when her parents died. That's some real villain stuff. And then Hazel puts her hand over Chloe's. We're VKs. We get it. Chloe is deeply affected by this. Of course, this is not the whole story, but the general public didn't know how awful the Tremaines were to Ella. On paper, yeah, it would get her banished to the Isle. I think also we can blame the shattering bit on that ass cat Lucifer. Maybe Ella turned them to glass on accident and then she was gonna go get help to have them turned back, but that evil cat knocked them over and they shattered, and so then Ella gets blamed for this and gets sent to the aisle. And then bonus points here if we cut to Red, who's sitting with all the HKs that used to be friends with Chloe, and they're all like laughing and having a good time, and Chloe is like stewing in this awfulness. We transition to Chloe. She's at home. She's going through her VK wardrobe. This is where we get her villain song. I would call it If the Shoe Fits, where she just decides to slip into this role that everyone is giving her, and she's like, fine, you want a VK? I'll be a VK. Little cheesy Descendants one-liner. And then from there, once she is fully transformed into her VK alter ego, we jump to Rose's unbirthday party. Here we could have a cover of the unbirthday song from Alice in Wonderland. I think that's very fun. I kind of miss when they were doing that. In the first Descendants movie, we have a cover of Be Our Guest, so I think that this fits into that universe nicely. The celebration ensues. We see some weird and wacky Wonderland desserts here. I think the production design team could really go crazy and it would be fun. Like all of the Is It Cake stuff that was in the rabbit's house, we can get more of that here. That would be fun. Rose is super excited. She's greeting everyone, welcoming them to her party. And then we get Red and Luis helping out with the party a lot. I think that's kind of their dynamic here, is like being good older siblings to Rose and making sure she has a good unbirthday. We get a smattering of hero kids in here, and then some of the BKs are hanging out. Bridget is a good mama to both of the girls, and Maddox is getting ready to unveil Rose's birthday present. With the help of Felix and Hazel, Chloe lures Rose away from the party because, like I said, the Wonderland Vault in this version can only be opened by the royal family. Rose is a member of the royal family. Felix has power over cards, which we see in Wicked Wonderland, so I think he could like kind of make one float through the air, and then Rose is a very curious girl, so she would just kind of chase after it, and it could be kind of like Alice going down the rabbit hole. I think it would be a nice little reference. And then as she follows the card, she finds Chloe. Chloe is there. She's acting all nice. She's like, oh my god, I have an unbirthday present for you. It's from Red, but she hid it, so we're gonna have to go find it together. Maddox unveils the steampunk tea machine, but they can't find Rose. They don't know where she is. She's wandered off at this point. So Bridget sends Red and Luis to go find her. They follow her, like Alice following the White Rabbit, towards the maze, and Red realizes too late that they are headed towards the vault, where the pocket watch is hidden. Luis does the bit here where he holds open the hedge as it's closing, but he is strong enough this time to let both of them through. So they both get through okay. I think it's a neat bit. Leave it in. Give them something to do. Chloe tells Rose, cut back to Chloe. Chloe tells Rose that the final present is hidden in the vault. Luis and Red and the VKs catch up just as Chloe gets the pocket watch. So Rose successfully opens the vault, gets her the pocket watch. A fight ensues. So this can be their big like villain clashing fighting song. We need to see some real good powers from everyone here. Luis being super strong, Felix using his tarot cards, Chloe and Red are at odds. Hazel and Pink can be fighting, or Hazel can just be kind of chasing Pink because, you know, she's a troublemaker, so she could just be like, you know, chasing after her. And this can be a song along the lines of Mad. I like the down is up is down. I like the weird, wacky Wonderland stuff. We could get some weird physics here. We could get some weird plants in here. Like, they're in a maze. Use the maze to your advantage. Red and Chloe clash like they did in Fight of Our Lives. Red isn't afraid to fight dirty because she grew up as a VK, and she's, you know, leaning more into her dark side here so that she can win. Eventually, there's a dog pile. I don't know how, but like, you know, in the chase and in the fight, all of them end up in one big pile together in the middle. I love the idea of Luis kind of tackling them. That's his himbo solution. And he's just like, well, tackles them all into one big pile, and it all goes sideways. The resulting fight blasts them all to the past. They set off the pocket watch in the same way that Chloe and Red fighting over the pocket watch originally sent them back in time the first time. This is the midpoint, okay? So all of that, we're at the middle of the movie. Because they all crash together, the pocket watch gets smushed. One of the VKs make a dig at Luis for this, and Luis takes stock of the girls. Are you two okay? Is everyone okay? Where are we? It looks like home, but maybe there are some white roses here that are red in their own time, you know, painting the roses red. This simple little thing can show that, like, they're in the past now. The roses haven't been painted red yet. And for those of you who don't know what a midpoint is, I would advise you to watch my video on the 3-act structure. If you wrote Descendants 5, you should also be taking a look at my video on the 3-act structure. So, we established they're in the past. The midpoint in a screenplay is where the goals shift. So previously the goal was settling into this new normal. Now the goal is, we are in the past, what do we do? Immediately, Chloe and Red argue. You are so selfish. Me? Selfish? My mom is a villain now. I'm a VK, and you? What? You're willing to let me suffer just to keep your big dumb boyfriend who just broke the pocket watch, by the way. Hey! It's more than that, and you know it. Oh yeah? I'm sorry, Chloe. I didn't realize being a VK was such a hardship for you. No, that's not what I meant. I'm not supposed to be. I'm a princess. I'm a hero kid. You miss your castle so much that you'd put everything at risk. Everything. I've never once had anything good in my life, and now, and Red tears up, I don't want to go back, Chloe, to living on the run, to never ever being good enough, no matter what What are you two talking about right now? Rose is the one that puts the pieces together. We traveled through time? Those roses aren't painted. Chloe and I are from another timeline. A timeline where her mom is a queen, and so is mine. Ours. But mom isn't nice there like she is here. She's a tyrant. All off with your head. And we used Maddox's invention, and she points to the pile that used to be the pocket watch, and came back in time and stopped it from happening. But things have been different. And then Luis, what are you saying? I never met you before 2 days ago. And you didn't exist. They're all silent except for one of the VKs who makes a quip that doesn't land. Chloe storms off, the VKs follow, Red is silent. She walks off very slowly. Rose bends down and collects the pieces of the pocket watch in her hanky. We can get a sad little I don't know who I am duet here of the two girls in different places, split screen, cutting back and forth, wandering Wonderland. We can call it Princess That I Was. After the song, Luis catches up to Red. He finds her. There you are. Are you okay? And Red is genuinely shocked that he chased after her. You found me. Maybe you don't remember, but I always find you. Kind of our thing. She goes all quiet and he takes a few steps closer like, listen, you didn't ask for this. For us. I understand if you want to start over. Or just give me a crash course. Hi, I'm Red, Wonderland princess with a chip on my shoulder. Former VK, newly HK. Maybe, I guess, while everything hangs in the balance. And I really like you, Luis. I don't want to lose whatever this is without trying to keep it. And Luis is like charmed by this. I'm Luisa Madrigal's son. Being raised in a big magical family means sometimes you get overlooked, but you've always seen me. I don't think that's changed. They have a fond little moment where you think they're gonna kiss, but Red is like, wait, have you seen Rose? She and Luis start looking for her, and there's a fake out. They see a girl with pink hair, and Luis is like, oh, there she is, but the girl turns around and it's Bridget! And I don't know why he'd think they're the same, because they have very different hair colors. Dark pink, light pink, but you know, it's Bridget. Oh my! I thought I heard someone out here. Did you get lost in the maze? I used to get lost out here all the time. Come with me! And she leads them out of the maze, and this is when it really sinks in for Luis that they have traveled through time. This is young Queen of Hearts, like, standing in front of them. She gets them unlost, and then tells them that she'll see them at Castle Coming, and Red is like, oh yeah, Castle Coming. So I'm picking up Chekhov's gun, and I'm gonna fire it myself. And then Luis asks her to Castle Coming. I think it'd be cute if he calls her Princessa. He does say it once in the original script. He calls Pink Princessa when she passes out.
No, Princessa.
Great.
I think that's cute. Bring that back. So he asks her to Castle Coming, and she rolls her eyes, but she takes his hand, so this shows that she is willing to give this a chance. And we get the line that, I can't with you, which is cute. We cut back to Hazel and Chloe. Chloe is bummed. Hazel is plotting. Chloe thinks maybe Red is right, and she should just suck it up and deal with it, and they should just go back to the future and, you know, leave things. But Hazel convinces her that maybe they can have everything. If they work together, they can stop Ella from getting sent to the Isle of the Lost. And Chloe's like, listen, I didn't mean to offend. Nah, you didn't. My dad caused suffering without even blinking twice. Taught my siblings and I to be ruthless. To take first and ask questions later. Flashed this hook to anyone that gave us a second glance. Even now, he goes on and on about losing to Peter Pan. Your parents were never like that. They didn't belong on the island. Maybe we can fix it. Red and Chloe group back up and apologize to each other for being selfish. They agree to figure it out together. And as the group plots, we get a reprise of Fight of Our Lives, because they are preparing for the fight of their lives. Hazel gets them girl bossed together into some castle coming outfits. I think them like using things from Wonderland to kind of disguise themselves would be really fun here. And then once all the girls are dressed for castle coming, and the guys, because we have Felix and Louise here, they're like, oh wait, like where's Rose? We cut to Rose. She is wandering the Wonderland maze, and she finds a young Maddox Hatter, played here by Brendan Tremblay. So we're bringing him back. I don't want him to be unemployed in this script, okay? So he's gonna play his young dad. I think that would be very fun. She greets him excitedly, because she, you know, she doesn't really get that, like, the time travel thing. She's not supposed to, like, talk about the future. But she shows him the broken pocket watch, and she's like, do you think you could help me fix this? And he's like, yeah, I think we can give it a shot. Act 3. The group rolls up to Castle Coming in their Wonderland best. Maybe the kids who weren't in the first movie use this as a disguise of sorts, pretending to be flower or playing card people, so their parents, in theory, don't recognize them. We know that Hook is in detention because he got frozen detention.
I hope you enjoy detention, since you've just signed up for years.
Last movie, so he's out of the picture, but we don't know where Louisa or Dr. Facilier are at this point in time, so, you know, just better not to take that risk. And then we get really nice new costumes here. We still have yet to see any of these characters in like formal wear, and so I think this is the opportunity for that. Give Rose and Chloe some really nice looks here. We need to see Bridget looking beautiful. We need to see Ella looking gorgeous. This is literally her Cinderella night, so it should be like a gorgeous like silver blue gown, you know. And then we also must see Faye, who is the young fairy godmother. I told you she'd tie back in. So she is looking for her wand, which she has misplaced. Ella has borrowed it at this point to turn her dress into this beautiful ball gown. She got her hands dirty, right? So she snuck out. She was grounded. She snuck out. She borrowed Faye's wand. She has transformed herself into this dress. That is the storyline thus far. Maybe there's like a masquerade vibe. I don't know. But yeah, we have yet to see these new gen characters in really nice looks. We got to see it with the coronation and the cotillion and like all of these beautiful formal looks from the OG characters. We have not yet seen the new gen characters in fun formal wear. So make that happen. And so our characters here can rehash their plans, so it makes sense for the babies watching at home. Louise and Red look around for Rose. And Felix is the one that notices that they don't have the pocket watch either. So they have to figure out both of those things before they can go back home. Bridget does the Shuffle of Love on the stage. She talked about it last time, another little Chekhov's gun that didn't go off. She was preparing it for that. So we see the fully fleshed out version of that song. And then Ella praises her once she's done. The girls have their little friendship moment. And then Red is about to go over and get the wand from Ella, but Chloe's like, wait, like my parents still have to fall in love. We gotta let that happen. Cue Charming. He walks in his best with his charming smile. There's a slow dance, and then maybe some of the other characters pair off. Maybe Louise and Red dance. Felix offers Chloe his hand, but Hazel bats it out of the way and takes Chloe's hand instead. Get a cute little moment with the two of them. And then Chloe has a line about how she knows all of this is weird, but watching her parents fall in love is kind of magical, so we cut back to Ella and Charming, who are like really hitting it off, you know? And she can see why Ella fought so hard for it. Midnight strikes, and Ella, who still has the wand, tries to go home, where she will inadvertently turn her stepfamily to glass because she still has the wand. So I think in her head, her plan was like to slip it back into Faye's stuff at school the next day, and then she just happened to have it in her hand when she got home, and there was some argument of some kind. She did not mean to, but she turned them to glass because she's not like a spellcaster, and we know what happens with the wand in the hands of people who are not supposed to have the wand. So she turned them to glass, the cat shattered them, and then Ella took the fall for it. That's the story I'm going with as to why Ella became a villain. But yeah, so she is about to leave because midnight is striking, so they have to stop her from going home. Luis puts himself between her and the exit. He's a big guy. He's imposing. He's gonna, you know, literally block the exit with his body. And then Chloe and Red try to talk her down. Bridget is there. She has no idea what's going on. Hazel and Felix at some point have left to go find Rose, so they're not here for this showdown. Ella is, like, Red says something out of turn, and Ella gets really offended by this. You know, give each girl flaws and all that. She pulls the wand. Faye is like, hey, what are you doing with that? She gets involved. Red and Chloe try to take the wand by force, but a blast of magic gets shot out in the struggle, and Luis is turned to glass. So we get a, like, sacrificial hero moment for him. He's still blocking the door, also, by the way. Red is devastated. She keeps everyone away from him because she's afraid of him getting shattered the way that the Step family was in the timeline that they caused on accident. We can get, like, a real, like, heartbreaking, cheesy moment where, like, Red is, like touching his face, you know? I think that would be fun for the production design, to make a big glass Luis. That could be fun. While Red is broken down, this is Chloe's moment to shine now, because Red gets so much attention in these movies. Chloe needs to have a hero moment. So she is the one that approaches Ella. Ella still has the wand. She's like, you know, stunned. Ella's really upset. She's like, I didn't mean to do it. Oh my God, I don't know how to fix this. And Chloe approaches really slow. She takes the wand from her mom. Ella breaks down. She's like, I didn't mean to do any of it. She was tired of her stepmom treating her like garbage and took things into her own hands. She just wanted to have one night where she could be with her friends and feel like a princess. And then Bridget and Charming are both there. I didn't know it was like that for you at home. I didn't tell anyone. I thought I could handle it myself. And Charming takes her hand and he's like, you don't have to. Not anymore. Because he is ride or die for her. Even in the original timeline, he followed her to the aisle. Okay? Like, he says in Rise of Red, that's just the name people know me by. Crown Prince isn't the way I ride. And so I think maybe he doesn't really care about the royalty. Ella gets sent to the aisle, he's going to the aisle. You know, that's my vision and why they both ended up in that situation. And also, like, if he and Cinderella don't get together, we don't get Chloe at all, and that's a very different, like, way more Back to the Future-y kind of thing, which is also fun, but just not the vibe I was going for. Chloe says, we've gotten our hands dirty, but that doesn't mean they have to stay that way. And I'm sorry I keep using that line. This could be replaced with something else. So she takes the one from Ella, and she gives it to Faye. And Faye is like, no, like, I am not good at spellcasting. Like, you don't want this in my hands. I'm going to make everything worse. This is your wand. Deep down, I know you know how to use it. And someday, you're going to be a really great fairy godmother. After this, we get the very first successful bippity-boppity-boo of the entire franchise. Good for her. Luis is turned back human, and he and Red reunite, with Red initiating here, proving to him that she really does have feelings for him, even in this weird interim timeline. With the trouble over and everything set right, the party continues. The girls and Luis talk to Ella, and they're like, are you gonna get in trouble for sneaking out? Yeah, but it's nothing we can't handle. Hazel and Felix return with Rose and young Maddox. Red is taken aback for a moment seeing him so young. She hugs Rose because she was worried where her sister had gone. And they also have repaired the pocket watch in the meantime. So we could cut back to them if you want more screen time of the two of them, but we don't have to. It's, you know, up for interpretation. I knew we'd need it to get back, so I found some help. And then Maddox seems to, like, kind of know what's going on a little bit. He's like, pleasure to meet you, princess. This should do the trick. Rose catches a glimpse of her mom, Bridget, and introduces her to Maddox, since Bridget has no friends. And so this can be a change that echoes if there's a third film of the trilogy. The two of them meeting each other earlier and becoming friends could have impacts. Red tells Rose she's proud of her. The group has one last moment to be like, all right, did we make all the changes we need to? They decide that yes, they are satisfied with this. They think they've done everything they need to do. They step outside the castle to a safe and covered distance and use the pocket watch to go back to the future together. They land in the courtyard safely in their new timeline and take a moment to let it settle. They all check each other over, and they're all okay. They all exist. They were all born, you know, like the butterfly effects did not affect them too bad. Do you think it worked? The door at the top of the stairs opens, and Fairy Godmother, looking more decked out and confident than we've ever seen her, that's another change, her becoming more confident in herself earlier on, steps outside. Oh my stars, there you are! Princess Chloe, Princess Red, Princess Rose, you're going to be late for the party, which I know is a mouthful, but I think it's important to tell them that all three of them are princesses again. That communicates that information. You could condense it. Princesses, you know, whatever. And the team is like, my God, we've done it! Chloe turns to Hazel and Felix and is like, I know I'm an HK now, but do you think we could still be friends? What do you think? And Felix gets a little Princess and the Frog line. I don't mind having friends on the other side. I think that could be fun. And then we get a beat with Luis and Red, where Red says, so, would you say you still have strong feelings for me? No, but, I would say I love you. And so that's a big one. I don't know if you want to drop the I love you right out the gate, but it is the second movie of a decom, and that's usually where we get the I love you. So, I don't know. They've been through kind of a lot together. Like, him getting turned to glass, I think, really put things into perspective. So, you can decide. Yes or no. Does he say I love you? I think he has definitely said it to her before, like if they've been dating for 6 months. I think he's definitely said it to her before, but yeah. And then here you can also have an optional Disney Channel kiss. Again, second decom of a trilogy. We usually get the kiss. We can skip a little bit of their development because of the time travel. Optional I love you, optional kiss. Okay? But they need a moment tying together their relationship. The whole group gets up to enter the party. Their own castle coming this time. And then Red and Rose hold hands. They're sisterly. You know, they go in together. And then here we get a big final dance number because we need it. We pick up with Robbie and the Smees again, so they exist. They were left at home because we didn't need them, so we left them at home. Up on the balcony, Bridget, Charming, and Ella, who are all good friends once again, and Royal. And then Bridget is still good, so she's still good. Maddox is also here, and he looks way more high-tech than the last time we saw him. So this was a big, like, advance for his technology. Him seeing this timepiece, like, inside before he was supposed to gave him a head start, so this is the impact that we're leaving this film with. And then we get a final stinger of Max Hatter existing. He's played here by Brendan Tremblay. He's dressed like his dad, so in like steampunk stuff, but it's like, it's Wonderland, so it's kind of ambiguous whether or not they're heroes or villains, you know? I'm thinking like pink and bronze and red and black, like as a color scheme, I think would be fun. Anyway, or you could get some purple in there. I don't know. Fairy Godmother does the outro voiceover. She has earned her keep in this franchise. Let her do the iconic outro. Why are we giving it to a cat? Don't give it to the cat. Give it to Fairy Godmother. She hits us with the outro voiceover and hits us with the iconic, "You didn't think that was the end of the story, did you?" Okay? And that is how I would have written Descendants 5. Writing is a tricky thing, especially when you're being rushed by outside sources. All of this is really easy for me to theorize from my room. But it is another thing entirely to have corporate Disney over your shoulder, to have a deadline slapped on your backs, to have a team of songwriters, actors, and their schedules, and production design people to think about. At this moment in my life, I don't know what the undertaking of writing an official script for a Disney Descendants film looks like. I have not been hired to do such a thing, okay? I don't know what that looks like. But as a longtime fan of the series, I have to believe that these people are capable of more than Wicked Wonderland. And if they're not, I think that needs to be evaluated too. The kids at home deserve good scripts. They need more than first drafts. They deserve more than having things mansplained to them by a cat voiced by Awkwafina. Show them your story. Don't tell them everything. Give things time to sit. Give characters arcs that make sense. You want an evil arc? Cool. Give them a reason to actually be evil. Conflict should be coming from your characters and their motivations, not from a cat sitting on their shoulder telling them to have conflict. And if you had reached out to me, Disney, this is the script doctoring that I would have given you. Hire me, please. I have a film degree. And that is, finally, all I have to say on the subject. If you like the way I write, please check out my books. I'm announcing this now. This is the first time I've said this in words. I do have one coming out next March. So put that on your calendar. Mark it down. Probably going to be like March 12th or something. I usually do it 12th of the month. I have a book coming out next March. So if you're interested in my writing and the way that I write things, check out O Positive. I'm selling that currently. Check out my other works. Mark your calendar for March. I think we've got some special things cooking. And I do want to do more videos like this. I have been thinking about doing one for Hocus Pocus 2, which is another film that I care about a lot, that I did not like. So I would like to do one rewriting that film also. So let me know what you think of this video, if you think I should, get on that and make more like this in the future. What did you think of Descendants Wicked Wonderland? Did you have thoughts similar to mine? Did you love it and think I'm a bitter chopped unk? What do you think of my mock script? How would you have written this film? Let me know in the comments down below. And all this said, I have watched this movie 4 times now. I do have a fun time watching it. Complicated lives we live. But that is going to be it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Have a lovely rest of your day. And as always, take your meds, drink your water, and I will see you when I see ya.